Hey guys, Rusty here with Ugly HP. Today we got a 03 Econoline E250 we're going to change the alternator on. They're pretty simple, even though it looks really hard to get to, but probably be dealing with a lot of customers since I'm outside, so we'll get started on this thing here in a second. Okay, so first thing first, you're going to remove your negative cable from the battery, obviously. And we'll just pull this up, and then it slips out. Next we have 5/16, 5/16, 5/16, or 8mm, whichever one you want to use. Okay, and we're gonna loosen this guy up right here. And this is gonna have the mass airflow right there, so once you pull it out, you still have to unplug it. Now we have all this room. I'm gonna go grab a flashlight, and there's really not many tools needed to change this. You do want to check it at the battery before you even go this far. If you're getting less than 13.5 volts, most likely you have a bad alternator. If it's hanging out at 13 volts, the alternator might be weak. This one right here is hanging out at nothing. So let me go get a flashlight, brighten this day up a little bit, and we'll start pulling this thing apart. You're just gonna need a 10mm to get the alternator off. Let's see if we can aim that in the right direction. Okay, so we just need a 1/2 inch, either a ratchet, or if you have this serpentine belt tool or a serpentine belt tool, to get the tensioner. Let me see if I can get good lighting down there. This sucks. So right here's our tensioner. We are not going to take the belt completely off. All we need to do is just get it off of the alternator. I just had a brain fart while I'm sitting here thinking. Ugh. So we're just gonna set it right under the alternator. Okay, so now we have a 10mm, two 10mm under this thing. We have a bracket back here. You only have to pull one bolt out and loosen the others. 10mm on that, and then you have two plugs, which the one plug is always a pain in the butt. I always have an easier time with this thing after I like unbolted, so I can kind of like shift it towards me. So we're gonna unbolt this whole thing real quick. That's our power wire. Now that's our bracket. So we took that bolt all the way out that's going straight to the alternator. We're just going to loosen these guys. We don't need to take them out. We just need that bracket movable. Then we got the two bottom ones. You don't have to take those all the way out either, I don't think. Actually, scratch that. On this model you do. Some of them will have a cutout under them. You can pretty much just loosen them up. So there's one 10mm. Everything's 10mm. So you only need 2 sockets on this thing. And an 8, or 5/16. So now to these 2 plugs right here. Just take a flathead screwdriver, stick it on the back side. Looks like someone changed this alternator before, so the plug's kind of broken. And this one right here, just give it a little twist. I'm not prying, I'm just, you know, moving this part right here. We're just, you know, pulling it out. So now we just pull this guy out the top. And this guy has been replaced before, as you can see, but it does not want to charge anymore. So we're going to get the new one, and we will be right back, and we can put it in. So we have our new alternator, and now we are going to start the assembly process. Try to wedge this down in there a little bit. This way you're out of the way, but you still see everything. Telephone ringing. Alright, so make sure we're not squishing our plugs. We'll start with these bottom bolts. And if y'all have watched any of my videos, y'all should know by now, I always just get all the bolts started, and then I'll run around and torque them this way. We ain't having no issues. Ugh. And I got one more bolt back here. Let's line up that bracket. Make sure our wires are out of the way. You could plug them in first or not, you know. So we'll go ahead and tighten these bad boys up. Plug our plugs in. One. I don't know why that one doesn't feel like it's in. Might have to be checking this one. It won't pull out though. I guess it's in there. Oh. Yeah, that's in there. our battery plus cable. Now the boot rotted off on this one. Not too tight. You don't want to strip those things out. The brass don't do too good under pressure. Alright, so next thing, get this belt set up on here. And make sure we're on all of our pulleys. Because if you're off on one, that's going to be it's going to be pulling. I'm trying to get the camera angle right for you guys. Having to hold it with my elbow. Alright, so we got our belt on. That's called cardio. I'm getting a little piece off of here. Tensioner tool. Ooh, almost dropped it. Pretty much down to the home stretch now, so make sure we don't leave any tools under the hood like a 10mm socket or a flashlight, which I go through these guys a lot. Plug in our mass airflow. Or you'll be wondering why it won't start but for a second. It's very important on these. We got our 4 8mm screws. Now the whole time we've been sitting here dealing with customers and, you know, working on this, we've been letting the battery charge. So you definitely want to make sure anytime you do an alternator on any vehicle, full charge on the battery when you start it up. I used to be one of those people that are like, nah, it don't matter. Until one time I put an alternator in, used the jump box to start it, tested it, and you can see where it was trying to catch up, so it was charging high. Well, it only did that for about 5 minutes and then it just dropped right off. So as it hasn't happened to me every single time, it will happen. And you don't want it to be that time when you have to dig a lot deeper. So now we're just putting our final air inlet tube in. Clips in. There you have it. Reconnect your ground cable and you're ready to go. Alternator on the 03 e250. This will work on almost any 4.6 or 5.4. It's all the same. Sometimes you'll have a different bracket on the backside of the alternator, and like I said, some of the alternators on the bottom half of the lower bolts, you only have to loosen the lower bolts because it'll just slide up out of there. Check us out on Facebook, hit the like button, subscribe, and as always, keep wrenching.